Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Am I Doing This Wrong? Morgan and Ryann here, same gals, new topic this week. Before we get into our check-in, I just want to say, we usually say this at the end of the episode, but we are on YouTube, and we are on YouTube for a reason. We wanted to make sure this show was as accessible as possible. We have awesome interpreters with us sometimes. And so I just wanted to make a big point of that because it is a really cool option that we have for the show. And so, shout out, credit where credit's due. We're trying to make this a thing. So just wanted to blow that up at the top,
Hell yeah. Yeah, I agree. We've just had some really good weeks, really good feedback from our listeners and our audience. And one thing that we might bring up next week's episode is that we actually had our first audience email from a listener and subscriber, I guess. And you know what? I just want to say thank you so much for feeling comfortable enough and vulnerable enough to share with us your stories, because it really makes a difference and it lets us know that we're on the right track and that we're doing exactly what we wanted to do, which was, build a community of people that are not trying to be perfect, not trying to, be everything that, our society wants us to all the time, and just honestly remain authentic. So yeah, shout out to you. We'll make sure that we incorporate that in our next episode. But yeah, let's start off with giving the roses now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way to put it. So yay, things are going well and moving forward. And we are just so grateful and so excited. And we love doing this every week, but it's really exciting to know that people are enjoying it on the other side. So just a huge thank you for all that.
Yes, exactly.
So now that we've gotten mushy, let's move on. So checking in real quick, Ryann, how you doing?
Yeah, I can honestly say I am doing well. What happened this week? What is this week? It's Thursday. Oh yeah. It's been a good week. My dog was actually sick last weekend, which was making me really sad. And I was just like, you can't fucking die. Like, if you fucking die, like, I'll kill you. You know what I mean? I felt like that. But right. No, he's fine now. But it was like good. Really like heart-wrenching for a second there. I was like, oh my God, like, so I really love my dogs. If you're a dog person, you completely understand. Or if you're just an animal person in general, or an empath, I guess.
Right.
but otherwise he's doing well now. So I feel like my mental health is doing a little bit better as well. But yeah, honestly, I can say it's been well. It's been really good. Yeah. So
good.
Yeah.
Good.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good. I was thinking like, oh, what's like a funny thing I should bring up? And I had a couple of things in mind, and some were like funny, and then some were like, Morgan, you're dumb. So I was like, what should I even, what should be my like little anecdote for this, check-in? Right. So let's see. So I started watching the sequel to 365 Days on Netflix, which is basically just like kind of like softcore porn on Netflix. I think I told you to watch the first one and you were like, Morgan, I'm not watching this. I was like, come on. You remember? I don't think you remember, but I couldn't get through it. It was like, I'm not one to really like criticize movies. Ryann knows. Ryan's gotten mad at me for not like saying a movie was bad, but I'm like indifferent to it. I'm like, it's fine. I have movies I like, but it's neither here nor there. But
I mean, yeah, Morgan will just be like, I mean, it was about this and this and this. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I hated it.
But this one, so I'm halfway through it. I turned it off and I was like, okay, we'll see. It's fine. So,
well, that's progress. That's improvement as far as I'm concerned. So,
right. But usually I'm one to like stay up and finish like a show or a movie. So it's like, that's not my style. So we'll see. I'll get through it. Yeah. But, Yeah, and then I sharpened a twistable lip liner.
Ooh,
So
okay.
yeah, no, not okay. That was dumb. That was my dumb story because it's twistable, it's retractable. I put it in my sharpener.
I've done that. I'm guilty. I've done that. Yeah.
And I was like, this is really hard to like shave with the sharpener. I was like, oh, because it's plastic. So that was a good one. And
that was a good one. I'm glad you went through with it and shared it with us.
yeah. And then the last thing is that I bought my first NFT today. Don't ask follow-up questions. I'm still not 100% sure what an NFT is.
Okay.
But I am determined to learn.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
I will update. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So you just sold your soul. That's what it sounds like to me.
Maybe. It wasn't that expensive. So got a deal, I think.
She's empty inside. People, let's move on.
Right. I told you we're done with the mushy stuff. We're moving on. So
yeah,
here we go.
Anywho.
So yeah, all in all, it's been kind of a silly week. So there you go. In a nutshell.
Yeah.
Anyway. So this week, new topic as always, and we are talking about ghosting. So been there, been on, also done it. Guilty. Yeah.
I've experienced it. Like other people have ghosted me.
Yeah.
But I have also ghosted other people. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not gonna get left at the party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I like being left at the party, so it's a little bit different, but
usually we're throwing the party for the most part.
That's true.
Right. So
yeah.
But so what is ghosting? So ghosting is a relatively new colloquial dating term that refers to abruptly cutting off contact with someone without giving that person any warning or explanation for doing so. Even when the person being ghosted reaches out to reinitiate contact or gain closure, they're met with silence. As you can see, it's called ghosting because it involves someone essentially vanishing into thin air as if they were a ghost.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
Gives a new meaning to the TV show like Ghost Hunters, you know? They're just like trying to get a text back.
Trying to get a text back. You know MTV would be on that show. It would come on right after Catfish.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Okay, trademark?
Because yeah, TM.
Episode. Yeah. Every episode just ends in like, I just didn't like you. I don't know.
I know.
We met at a bar and that's it.
Right. Yeah. They keep calling them Sarah because that's what they think their name is. She's like, I'm Allison. Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Yeah. Or the show just ends with nothing. Just like
right.
Just like the relationship.
Yeah. So your number is blocked, meaning we can't get through to them. So
you don't know where they live. You don't know their last name.
Never followed each other on social media. Like there's no paper trail for us to do anything with. So back to Catfish, you know.
Right. Yeah. It's only gonna last a season.
In typical MTV fashion. No, that's not true. They drag shows on forever.
That's true. The challenge is still on, and that's been on since we were like children. So
true. So true.
Yeah. Jersey Shore.
Oh,
I know.
It's nostalgic at this point.
Yeah, it really is.
I was Snooki.
I was gonna say. I was like, maybe she didn't hear that.
Oh, I heard it. You were a meatball for sure. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, for Halloween one year, my firfirst year in Santa Barbara, I was Snooki for Halloween. What a look. Yeah.
Very fitting.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the history of the term. So the term ghosting became mainstream about 7 years ago alongside this surge in online dating. So it was officially entered into Merriam-Webster dictionary in 2017. The term was actually used as far back as the 90s, and some pop culture writers and scholars have used the term to describe ghostwriting in hip hop music.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So I guess it's a similar meaning, right? Because it's not referring to an actual ghost, right? It's referring to someone who is quote unquote not there, right? Or like not a part of the situation anymore.
Right. So it goes on to say that though it's a new term, the act of ghosting existed well before the digital age. And then this article that I found has a quote where this dating coach says, I think references of going for a loaf of bread and never coming back are examples of ghosting. So then she goes on to say, ghosting used to be leaving a person or moving away or not leaving them, and not leaving them your contact information. And then another example they use is leaving a party or social gathering without notice or goodbyes. So like an Irish goodbye.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So just kind of leaving without any notice. Yeah, definitely. So that's why it's funny, because when you give something a term, right? Like when now it's all like now, pretty much everyone around our age, even a little older or younger, know the term to mean, what it means.
Yeah.
But it sounds so much worse now that we've named it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I was like, I don't know. They just stopped texting back. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I called and called and called and no answer,
right.
So
and even farther back, like the example of like going out for a loaf of bread, or like, oh, he went to go get, more milk and never came home.
Right.
I mean, that's a little bit sadder, right? Because it's one thing if it's like a Tinder date that you thought went well versus like someone you had 4 children with in the Great Depression,
Yeah, a little different.
Yeah.
I feel the same PTSD. I'm just going to say that right now.
Like it feels the same. I get what you mean. It's different, but
Yeah.
So
4 kids, 4 Plan B pills. I mean, it's all the same at this point. Is that fucked up? Is that fucked up?
No, that's funny. We're leaving that in there. So, all right. So how it became popular. So why did the term ghosting become mainstream just within the last decade? So the argument is that online dating has simply made it way easier to ghost, which like, yeah, true. Like block, delete, period. Like that's it.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And pros and cons, right? It's not like the term ghosting, I feel like does have a negative connotation, right? Most people kind of associate it with like, negative or negativity, but I don't know. There's something nice about not having attachments to people that, like you weren't sure about. It's really nice on dating apps that they give you the block option. Like, I don't want to just stop talking to you. I want you to never be able to access me again. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Interesting you put it that way. We will get into the psychology in just a little bit. So so why do people ghost? So this article that I found had 2 primary reasons as to why people ghost one another. And it did say that it's often a combination of the 2. So let's go over them. So the first one is it's the easy route.
Road most traveled.
Right. Exactly. Yes. So some people find it easier, at least in the short term, to ghost someone than to have an awkward, uncomfortable heart-to-heart as to why they are not interested in maintaining contact. So, yeah. Right?
Yeah. I mean, and in reality, there are some bad examples. I've heard of some pretty wild ghosting situations, which I'm sure we'll get to. But as far as like dating apps goes and like, just like how we talk about consent, right? We talk about consent so much and just being able to feel like you have agency and control over the situation. I do feel like with that, sometimes you feel entitled to a response, right? Like, well, I invested time in you and like I was excited about you. But again, if it wasn't mutually, felt, then they have just as much right to just be like, it's really not worth the time. Oh. Sorry, not sorry.
Right, exactly. So the person doing the ghosting often wants to avoid confrontation or dealing with someone else's hurt feelings. So they just cease all communication and hope the hint is delivered. So, yeah. So, number 2, so option overload and fatigue. So this is in regards to internet dating, and it goes on to say, with internet dating comes what may seem like an infinite amount of choices, as opposed to walking into a bar and having limited options. Which true, like you could swipe for hours, you know.
Right.
Well, not for hours, you know, you could, but they show you the A list and then they show you the B list.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, you're like, who are these people? You know, we've talked about this. Check out our, what is that, dating apps?
Dating apps episode. Yeah.
Dating apps episode. Yeah. So it goes on to say, because there are so many choices, online daters are quick to have an okay next or yeah, but what else mindset. So sometimes the person is nice enough, but when you're juggling a few other people, some just don't make the cut.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And honestly, even if I'm not juggling choices, if you're just not it.
Right. That's true. If you're just not it, but man, like it's pretty cutthroat out there, you know? Like we are in like an instant gratification, like 2022 kind of world. And like, it is just like, you got to make it or you are done.
I know. And like, that's the thing, right? I think it's a good thing. If that person is not for you, like ghosting might have been the best thing that they could do. You know what I mean? I know that in past situations, not relationships, just situationships, where like, I was like, this will work, you know, like, I think if I, you know what I mean? Like, I think if I just say the right things, this is going to work, but I shouldn't have to be saying the right things, like quote unquote, right things. You know what I mean? Right. Like if it's not coming naturally to this situation, then them ghosting at the time, I was like, that's really fucked up. Yeah. I traveled to Arizona for you. Morgan knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, you dropped him. He was worth being dropped in my eyes. I was
the
not
best
a
friend
fan.
Perspective. Yeah, not a fan.
Not a fan. You did yourself a favor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no, he ghosted me.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, kind of. Sorry. No, it's okay. No, again, the best thing in that situation was that he ghosted me because I would have kept
you
trying.
Made off better in the end. That's what I meant. I wasn't saying like,
yeah,
I know how the situation went, but like,
thank you.
You know,
thanks for trying to spare my feelings. I appreciate it.
Sorry.
No, everyone, I was the ghostie, so it's okay.
Well, it happens, but it was for the better. So, okay. So doing this research, I found this article, which was very interesting and well, to me, we'll see what you guys think, but we'll see what Ryann thinks. But it was talking about the psychology behind ghosting. And the article was titled, Study Finds Ghosting Short-Term Partners is Associated with Psychopathy and Machiavellianism. Okay, so we'll get into it a little bit. I have some terms to define, and then we'll talk about what this study found. Okay, so if you're okay with just ghosting people, you might be someone to look out for. So Ryann over here just touting all this, like, just ghost them, drop that, you know, be careful, watch out.
Be careful. I mean, again, we've all got a little crazy. If you didn't listen to last episode, it was about red flags. So you might be a red flag. Let's just be real with ourselves, you know, do a little inner work and realize that we've all got traits that could probably do without. But it's, you know, it's what makes life fun, you know.
It certainly keeps you on your toes. So all right, so Machiavelli, this is a tough word, sorry. Machiavellianism. So that's defined as a personality trait that denotes cunningness, the ability to be manipulative, and a drive to use whatever means necessary to gain power. So manipulation. Yeah. And then this article does talk about the Dark Triad, which I hear a lot in my true crime podcasts. But for anyone who doesn't know, the Dark Triad is a trio of negative personality traits. So those 3 traits are narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. So narcissism, we know, is very like self-absorbed, very high sense of self, arrogant. Machiavellianism, as we just defined, is basically manipulative. And then psychopathy, I would say, is like a lack of empathy.
Yeah.
So just to kind of break it down and make it easy, a little more digestible as we get into this.
Right.
Okay, so the way people behave in their romantic relationships is directly connected to their personality traits. So previous research has shown links between the Dark Triad traits and promiscuous behavior, cheating, and an increased number of sexual partners. So, are you evaluating yourself yet, Ryann? I'm just kidding. I'll cut that out.
No. Let the people know what you're really like, Morgan. She's a Dark Triad.
Right? I know. I'm really exposing myself right now.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So through this research on how people who are high or who score high with these traits behave in romantic relationships, there's little understanding of how these traits relate to ending a relationship. And so that's what this study was trying to do. And so the participants in this study were primarily white women undergraduate students who ranged from 18 to 72 years old. So kind of general, but and
kind of general, kind of white, just white women.
White. No, I know, but it's saying undergrads, but then it goes on to say the age range. So I don't think they're all undergrads. So I think they're just giving us what the majority was versus who was actually part of it. So we can keep that in or take that out. I don't know if that's important. It doesn't matter. So
hey, we need to talk about it. Most of the research that we find is very biased, like we talk about all the time.
That's true. That's true. I mean, we might prove that all white women have traits of the Dark Triad. So look out.
I mean, if history tells us anything.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So all participants completed a measure assessing Dark Triad personality traits and answered questions about ghosting to assess their attitudes if they had ever participated in ghosting. Okay, so the results. So the results showed that participants found it more acceptable to ghost in a short-term romantic situation versus a long-term romantic situation.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes sense because you just have more connections to the person, right? Like they probably know your mom or like someone to get in touch with you. Like, hey, we've been dating for like 6 months and Morgan's phone is just like not working. Like, oh no, it's working. Guy, it's just not working for you.
Yeah.
Actually, knowing Morgan, no, nobody that she would date would know anyone about her. Like, they wouldn't have any connections. So
that's true. Probably. You're probably right.
Yeah.
I just got to keep my options open.
Hey, we admitted to some toxicity. Like, it is what it is. It's everywhere, you know?
It's me. Yeah. Example A, here and now. Uh-oh. Sorry. So it goes on to say people who reported that they had ghosted someone in the past scored higher on psychopathy and Machiavellianism, but not narcissism, than people who reported that they have never ghosted anyone.
Okay.
So lack of empathy and manipulative. Okay.
Well, that makes sense because most people that I meet that ghost someone, like just like friends or people that I know that have told me like, oh yeah, oh, I just stopped texting back, or like, oh yeah, I blocked that guy or whatever. It's not usually done as just like this kind of like emotionless act. Like you do kind of feel a certain type of way about it. You're like, oh, I don't know if that was right, but like I really didn't want to talk to them anymore,
Yeah.
And it's not always just guys. Like I've ghosted girls before, like I've ghosted other people, and I thought that it was just like a safety thing with guys, because being alone with guys, or sometimes guys having access to a lot of different parts of your life can be dangerous, because typically the power dynamic is in their favor, right? They can take advantage of that typically. But I realized, like, over time, like after ghosting both men and women, that it was kind of just like, it doesn't feel good either way, honestly. But at the same time, like, I only got one life to live. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
Text messages aren't as quick as we make them to be. Like, when you don't know someone, you really have to like put thought into it, and like keep the conversation good and exciting. That's a lot of work. I don't know. I'm lazy and a procrastinator, so I was
gonna say, like, I think we are just lazier.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, you're like, I don't even need a roster. Like, I don't even need someone to make the cut. I might not be talking to anyone else.
Right.
And if you aren't it, I'm good.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
I have I gotta go finish that movie on Netflix. I only watched half of it. I need to watch the other half.
Exactly. Yeah. Morgan would rather watch B movies than talk to B list texters. You know what I mean?
That is 100% accurate.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
I am who I am.
I know. And here we are.
Right. Yeah. So people high in Dark Triad traits were more likely to find ghosting acceptable, but only in the context of short-term relationships. So this is all kind of saying the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this study, it wasn't as in-depth, but I just thought it was interesting to talk about the psychology behind it a little bit. And then it goes on to say that while more work is warranted, we can conclude that ghosting is considered acceptable by people, and then it says men in particular, high in the Dark Triad traits when attempting to extract themselves from low investment relationships.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So you don't have much attached to this person. They might not even know much about your life. You might not even live in the same city or location.
That's true.
So yeah, the access to dating apps, I would also say if you travel, right? Like me and Morgan would definitely do this, if like we traveled somewhere, you'd get on the dating apps, maybe talk to some people on the dating apps for a while. And even if you did have plans to see that person in the future, you didn't really have any real connection. You're not going to be at work with me tomorrow, ooh, that'd be interesting, ghosting someone, but you work with them, like you romantically ghosted them, but like I still do have to see you. That's interesting.
I think that's why people don't get with their coworkers. I mean, I know that it happens.
Do people not do that?
I'm saying some people have a rule where they try not to. So I've heard that before. So
rules are meant to be broken.
You you haven't had to go to the water cooler when Joe over there that you stopped texting a week ago is like crying in his cubicle.
Oh God, Joe, that's like, that's depressing. Crying in a cubicle. It's already
What's
a cubicle.
Worse, that he's in a cubicle or that he's crying?
Oh no, definitely the cubicle. If you cried on a beach, that's like poetic.
Oh yeah, that's a scene at the end of a movie,
right?
Yeah,
at the end of a B list,
a good movie. No, like not even a movie that I like a movie that other people like. A movie I'm indifferent to, but others might say it's good. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have terrible taste. Maybe I do. Who knows? We'll see.
It's all subjective. Anyway.
It is. True. All right. So let's talk a little bit about how are you impacted? Okay. So first, the ghostee, right? The one getting ghosted. Obviously, this is who we're thinking of. So the ghostee. Okay, I'll take that part out. But So ghosting can have a real psychological impact on the person who is being ghosted, right? So sudden loss or grief, especially the first time you've ever been ghosted, you are shocked, you're in denial, you're thinking things like, maybe they didn't see my text, like trying to like rationalize in your mind. And then you might feel angry. And then next, feelings of depression can kick in, along with feelings of poor self-esteem as you mentally re-examine your relationship and the last conversation for possible warning signs.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it's a quick process. Process. Said it twice. I'm good. But yeah, hopefully it's quick. I definitely think that there is something to be said, like after it happening to me and somebody ghosted me, I did kind of think twice about doing it to the next person,
Yeah.
Because it immediately is an inward, like, well, I'm the only person left here, so like what is not working here, you know what I mean? Because you're the only person in the situation to talk about it with. But I'll stop there. Let's continue. But yeah, I can see that road.
Yeah. I mean, it can hurt, but sometimes you need information. And I don't know if I will or won't tell this story, but sometimes you just need a response because you don't know if you need to go to Walgreens and get Plan B. You know what I mean? And that's all I'll say on that. So
oh my gosh.
Sometimes you just need a little more information.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about how it can affect the ghoster. So the bottom line here, it says, is that ghosting is either a passive aggressive way to end a relationship or it's the easy way out, like we said.
Yeah.
Either way, it's not doing the ghoster any favors in their ability to communicate with others.
Yeah.
So even though you're avoiding this tough conversation, that doesn't mean tough conversations aren't going to happen in other areas of your life or in future relationships.
Yeah, exactly. And ghosting is not specific to dating, right? Like you can ghost a lot of different types of people in a lot of different types of situations. I know that, if you've ever moved to a new place, and then moved again or something, I think that's what's tough for, children that grow up moving around a lot, or, not having like that sense of home or that sense of, structure or connection, tends to kind of lead to people that feel a little bit less empathetic in these situations because you're kind of used to this, right? Like I'm used to not having the same people stick around. And not to say it's right either way, I think thinking of things as right or wrong is kind of like fucked up anyway, because it's really like positive and negative, right? Like it could have a negative influence, and that negative influence might lead to more bad, quote unquote, bad things happening. But really it just kind of, it says more about, the way that or the lack of communication, right? And maybe you haven't built those skills yet. I definitely have broken off, situationships or relationships with guys in a more cordial way, a more straightforward, like, hey, I don't think this is going to work out, you've been nice. It was a nice date, but like, I'm looking for something different. Like, I hope you have a nice life, whatever. I've definitely went that route. Because I do think when it happens to you, it's kind of like, oh, do I want to do that to someone else? Yeah. I mean, I probably still did, but I'm just saying. Second
right.
thought,
Right. Yeah. You take pause.
Right.
Yeah. So, it goes on to say that ghosters can create unhealthy problem-solving patterns for themselves. And they also contribute to a larger pattern of societal flakiness that increases their chances of being ghosted as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can kind of tell when people are always ready to like get out of a situation. If someone is not really being vulnerable, right? They're not sharing a lot about themselves. Yeah, there's signs to ghosting for sure, or people that tend to ghost for sure. Yeah, just being really vague, keeping the conversation very surface level. Have you ever met like a person, or actually, I guess we didn't meet, but on dating apps, I would come across people that would like text me good morning, beautiful for like 6 mornings in a row, you know, and the conversation would have like three texts back and forth every day, you know,
right.
And then the next day they would say this exact same thing. And so I'm just like, do you think that this is going to eventually lead you into like bed or a relationship? Like, where is this surface level shit going? Because I would always just honestly ghost them. Like, I would just like block, like delete chat, you know, like, so yeah, definitely. You can kind of sniff it out if you want to, you know?
Right. And that is a tactic. I have heard that before. Like text them good morning and good night for 3 days in a row and then see. Yeah. I have heard that. I have tried that. Just to see if it would work.
Just to see. Did you not reply though? You just said good morning, and then whatever they replied, you would just wait until the night and be like, okay, good night.
No, there was more conversation in between, and it was someone that I knew. It wasn't like an online dating person. Yeah, okay. So a little bit different of a situation, but that is a tactic. So keep your eyes peeled, people, is what we're saying. So as a recommendation to avoid ghosting, this article did say, send a message that is short, sweet, and honest, and end with an outro to signal that you don't want to have a long, drawn-out conversation. It's possible that you may get a negative or hurt reaction from the other person, but it's far better to exit the relationship after giving an explanation than to ghost completely. So like Ryann was saying, like, hey, you're a great person, but I'm not sure if this is going to work out. Like, have a good life. I mean, have a good life sounds so like goodbye forever. Yeah. But it's what you mean. It's true. But right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I usually would probably say like, I mean, no, I have said that. I've said like, have a good life. But yeah, there's something about this is like very Libra of me. This is like a very Libra trait, but something about knowing that like there's a chance I could come into contact with this person again. I want to leave it on good terms, you know. Yeah. That's very Libra of me, like leave it on good terms so that like if I see that person again, I could be like, hey, I mean, not that I would, but the point being it's hard to do that sometimes because I feel like there's always this chance that this person will be, you know, I don't know, I'll be serving them because I'm a waitress again. I don't know. There's just something that could happen. And I feel like they'll be in control and I'll be like, I'm sorry, I didn't text you back.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. That is a fear. That is a fear. Hey. And well, then let's talk about it a little bit. Do you have any stories you want to share of being ghosted or ghosting? Anything that comes to mind? Or any like, did they send you like follow-up text after that you ignored as well?
I mean, yeah, like I fucked this guy in his fucking car and he ghosted me. That was AZ guy. That was Arizona guy.
Oh,
and I was just like, dude, I gave you all this in a car. Do you know how hard that was? Number one, I am not short. So things do not come easily to me in car settings. But I was just like, but then I thought about it and I was like, well, see, introspection tells me I shouldn't have fucked him in a car. You know what I mean? Like that was my first no. Okay. I don't know why we fucked in a car either. Like we were both very capable of getting a hotel. I don't know, something about the rush. And like, that's the thing, keeping it surface level, right? Like never committing to getting a hotel, never committing to actually, you know, like seeing me outside of picking me up for a date or something like that.
Yeah.
That's very non-committal, right? That's very keeping it surface level so that when we do break, I don't know where you live, you know, I don't know where you hang out, you know, that kind of stuff. So it makes sense. Again, the signs were there for sure, the red flags, quote unquote, but I don't even know if I was actually looking for a real relationship. I just think it was more so like, you're a conquest and I don't like not getting what I want. It really pisses me off. And like, I just felt like, I think I can get this, you know? Yeah. And this, I don't know if it was even actually a relationship. Maybe it was the car sex. Maybe I did it. You know, I did it. I succeeded. I got the car sex. I don't know. So that's one notable one. I definitely ghosted another guy. I talked about him from last episode, actually. Throwback. The one that was like, after we had sex, I went to the bathroom and then I came out and I was like putting on my clothes, getting ready to leave, like make my exit,
Yeah.
He was like, oh, where do you think you're going? And I was like, oh, and I just felt like so cringe immediately. And I was like, I don't even know what I said, honestly. Like I had to get out of there. Like I was just like, oh, like, my sister and she had a baby yesterday. It's wild. So much has happened. There's a funeral and a wedding on the same day. And like, I gotta go, I just said whatever I had to get out of there. But he did text me after because he had a great time. He was not thinking like, oh, this was surface level, which I'm like, dude, we went to Topgolf. Like this was the most surface level that you can get,
Yeah.
Ugh. And so I fucking hate Topgolf. Yeah, I said it. But I ghosted him for sure. I was just like, no, this is going nowhere. But I'm trying to think of another time. What about you? Do you have any notable ghosting stories?
I definitely ghosted this guy. We went on 2 dates. Oh, I met him off Coffee Meets Bagel. The only person I ever met off Coffee Meets Bagel. We went on 2 dates and I just wasn't feeling it. The second date we went to a movie. Okay, the first date I was talking the whole time. He wasn't saying anything, but maybe I was nervous. I don't know. But it was fine. We just like had a beer and then left. And then I was like, okay, maybe we need to hang out more. So the next time we went to a movie, and after the movie, he took me home and he was dropping me off. And I was like, I don't want him to kiss me. I don't want him to kiss me. And I was just like, okay, this is not the feeling you're supposed to have. Right. So I was like, okay, I hugged him. We hugged. It was awkward. And then we left. And then I ghosted him. Yeah.
Did he
and then
text
it turns
you?
out he did. Turns out one of my coworkers knew him. So he was like, we were friends. So we were at work. This guy didn't work with me, but he had worked with one of my coworkers at a previous job. So my friend was working with me now, but knew this guy from before. And so he was like talking shit on him and like, we were kind of laughing at it, but and I I'm not a good person. This podcast is showing me a lot about myself.
But I mean, at the same time,
this wasn't the right vibe. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
it's not my proudest moment. I've also been ghosted. I'm not, impervious to it. I know it sucks.
Right. I mean, like, that's the thing. I've heard of situations that are worse than that. I've heard of situations that like it ends up being somebody's best friend, and then they're like, oh, that person, like they never text back, like da da da. Actually, I won't expose my new partner, but he had something in his past. It was a similar situation, like you said, but the person that he ghosted, not even ghosted really. They just like didn't hit it off. I guess it's still ghosted, whatever. She was pissed and she was like, Ben is the fucking worst, like da, 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 all this stuff, and he was just like, I just didn't like you, like that's it, So there's also that, there's a part of it that's just like, you're just not a match for me. I'm just not feeling whatever I need to feel to continue this,
Right.
So yeah, it's awkward, but that's like my worst nightmare is like going back to work and being like, oh, look, I went to a wedding this weekend with this person, and they look like sad because you broke up with them the night before because you ghosted them, That's worst case scenario for me.
Right. For anyone, that would be pretty terrible. That's true. So we're all guilty of it.
Yes.
We've all probably been ghosted as well. I mean, it's kind of ingrained in our culture now, like we said, 2022.
Oh yeah.
It's just
it's wild out there. It's wild. You got to get in where you fit in. I would say, I think we don't really follow our instinct as much as we should. We've talked about that. Because I do think that depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for a quick night out and the person just happens to continue texting you, you don't have to feel like you need to continue that conversation. Yeah. But I think because we want to be nice, like, oh, I don't want to be mean. Be mean, you know what I mean? Be straightforward and like get the fuck out, so.
Yes. Okay, that's true. Let's embrace that. Get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't text back.
Yeah, whatever.
Or do make it short, sweet, and honest. Tell them to have a nice life.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And then
Morgan.
hopefully they do.
She's just like, yeah, that's right.
Okay, so wrapping it up, I did want to include something that was in one of the articles I found. It said, when is ghosting okay? So, I mean, we're kind of, I think, throughout this episode thinking that whenever, but whenever you want. But this article did specify situations in which ghosting can make sense is if you find out a person is married or in a relationship. Participating in illegal or unsavory behavior, or if they display toxic traits.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel comfortable, if you feel in danger, if something just feels off, like Ryann was saying when she left that guy and was just like something in her gut was telling her it's time to go, trust your gut. Go. You don't always have to be polite. It's not your responsibility to take care of other people's feelings if you feel like something within you isn't comfortable or feeling safe.
Yes, very true. That's so funny though. The one time that I do remember starting to try and date this guy, it was off the app Hinge, and I was already kind of like feeling about dating apps anyway. But something about him, I was just like, okay, so you only FaceTime me when you're in your car, like driving somewhere, which was kind of, at first I was like, okay, fine. You know, you're on your way to work, whatever. But then it was like at like 7 at night, like 8 p.m. And I'm like, where are you going? You know, like you never seem to be at one place. You're always going from somewhere, which lets me know that wherever the destination is, you don't want to be seen on the phone with someone.
Oh.
Yeah. And so he honestly would have probably ghosted me eventually. You know what I mean? Like I called him at the wrong time or something. But I actually did tell him, I was like, I think you're married or at the very least in a relationship. So like, I can't continue this, you know? And he said something back, like so cliche. He was just like, you know, you got to do what you got to do in life or something. It was like some motivational ass bullshit. And I was like,
that is not the answer to that question. The question was, are you married?
Right.
You got to do what you got to do in life.
It was something like you do you, or like just do it, Nike, you know, like it was something. It was something like that, you know, and I can't remember exactly, but I just knew like, so you're married. Okay. Got it. You know, but yes, totally acceptable to ghost sometimes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so last one, just a couple of tips on how to deal if you have been ghosted. So, number one, reflect and evaluate the situation, right? Because you're probably going a little crazy in your head. You're trying to analyze everything that you said, what you said wrong. Maybe it's none of those things. Maybe you need to take a step back and just think, okay, people do this. Ghosting is a thing. It happens.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's very easy to block. I will say one time that I felt kind of bad about ghosting. I just thought about this. I met this girl in WeHo. I was out with Jose. He probably remembers this. It was a New Year's Eve or like New Year's night. We were in WeHo having a good time. And I met this girl. She kind of approached Jose first. You know, you always approach the friend first, you know, to like get in with the click. And then, you know, she was kind of asking questions about me. And one thing I will say is this was kind of a important moment in like me realizing that, you know, my queer identity, that like I have much more, I had much more homophobia than I realized. Like I was like internalizing a lot of like really homophobic thoughts because I was like, no, I'm just here with my gay friend, you know, like I'm just here doing the thing, you know. But in reality, like, and Morgan can probably attest to this, like there were a lot of times that I have been approached by, you know, women Morgan, that I was just like, oh, haha, no. And not to say like I necessarily wanted to go, like pursue anything more, but I think in that that specific time, we did exchange numbers, like we chatted for a few weeks, you know, and something about it felt like, I just met you at a nightclub, like I don't need to respond. But because she was another woman, I felt bad about it. Whereas when I ghosted men, I never felt bad about it because I was like, whatever, dude, you know, like go enjoy the patriarchy, you know. But for the woman, I did feel a little bit more bad. And I think it was a little bit of homophobia wrapped up in it because I was like, oh, does this make me like less of whatever I am? You know what I mean? Because I was just like, I feel bad. But I honestly think it was just more so we had like a shared experience that I just don't have with most guys. Because I do know that it's tough to like walk up to somebody and introduce yourself and be like, I'm interested, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I kind of think that sometimes it depends on the person. You might feel, you know, you might have what, you know, buyer's remorse, right? You might feel bad later, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you did something wrong. It just means that like you have empathy for the situation. You know, you might feel bad that the other person is wondering where you went, you know?
Right.
So.
Right. You're not a total psychopath. So
right. Yeah.
That's a good
Not
thing.
for these reasons, at least.
Right. Not in this context. Right.
Yeah.
So number 2, directly ask what's wrong. If you need to know, just send the text.
Yep.
You know, but like the earlier research said, usually you are sending some kind of follow-up and you're not getting a response. So just know that you might not get that closure you're looking for.
Yes. Good. Ooh, good point. Yeah. But you still send it, right? Get it off of your chest, send the text.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's out there.
Right.
It just might not be received.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless they have their read receipts on, then you'll know for sure.
That's why read receipts are so shady.
Yeah.
Like it's a certain type of person that has read receipts on, unless you're like a dad or something.
You have your read receipts on.
Oh my God, do I really?
You do.
Oh, this new phone. Wait, did I always have them on? Oh, God.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
But you do.
Oh, awkward. Okay.
You're at the talk shit on people who have their read receipts on. You bitch, you have your read receipts on.
Oh, reading myself for filth right now. Hey, you know what? That was a fucking honest ass moment. So there you go, folks.
That's okay. We'll give everyone a second to go check your phones because yeah, no, you're right. Only certain people have those on. Clearly, Ryann didn't know she had hers on and she's about to go update her settings after this. So
that's hilarious. Anyway, I act like I text like 5 people. I'm married. Like there's really nobody to be like, I mean, Morgan, but she knows I'll probably call her in 5 minutes. So it's fine.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. All right. So number 3 is take note of the anxiety you have around being ghosted. Remember that big emotions are a teacher with an important message, and taking rejection personally is often a subconscious defense mechanism.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it's kind of a learning moment, right? Like Ryann, you were speaking pretty confidently about just like, fuck it, move on, like all that. But that's because you've been through a lot of these experiences. You've ghosted, you've been the ghostee. So plus you're married. So you might just be like, I don't care.
I mean, we're open. So, I'm just saying, you know.
Right.
We might ghost someone together, you know.
Oh. We'll check back in on that.
Yeah.
All right. And number 4, let it go. Let it go. You're great. It's not on you.
I know.
Right? Go get back to swiping.
Yes, exactly.
Go, if you want to, or finish the movie on Netflix. Just do you. Whatever you got to do, let it go.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Letting it go is the best option for you. I know sometimes it might be upsetting that other person just gets to live their life without any thoughts about, you know, what happened with you two. But more often than not, we build it up in our head much more than it ever was, you know, because I do think a lot of people look to the future, even if it's not like, oh, we'll get married and be together forever. When you do meet someone, your mind starts going, right? Like, oh, that would be really cool if we could see a movie together. That'd be really cool if we could go to this place together. This person seems fun. Like, what if we traveled together? I think you start thinking of the things that would be fun for you, even if the other person hasn't actually agreed to do any of those things. You know?
Right.
So yeah, let it go.
Let it go. Yeah. There's plenty more options out there. Keep looking.
Keep searching, just keep swimming.
Yeah, there you go. Well, okay, that is everything for today. So, question, are we doing this wrong?
Ooh. I mean, depending on the article, I think we're doing it exactly right.
That's true. This research really could have gone either way.
Yeah.
So,
how do you feel? Do you feel like you've done ghosting wrong?
I mean, I do feel like a little bit bad. I get what it's saying, like the honest, like message saying, "Hey, you're great, but just not for me."
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I probably, now that I'm older, more mature, like I might do that. I don't know. I don't know though.
Yeah. Morgan likes a little chaos, just a little chaos.
I do. So I can't say for sure if I'll do it right from now on.
Fair. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it depends on the person.
Right. Yeah. When Morgan starts shrugging a lot, it means it's going to happen again.
I know. So we may or may not be doing this wrong, but I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah.
People are being ghosted and people are ghosting.
Yeah.
It's just part of like dating life. It's part of life, period, now.
Right. Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's in the dictionary.
We've established.
Yes.
No, that's true. I think we might not be doing it right or wrong, but we're doing it fun. It's been fun, it's given us some good stories. Right. And when you meet people that have also been ghosted, you're building a community. That's what we're really doing here. Building a community of the ghosties, The
ghosties. Yeah. The ghosties. That's what we'll call the show on MTV.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
The ghosties.
Love that for us.
Yeah. Trademark. Oh my gosh. Well, this was fun. If you are being ghosted or have been ghosted or thinking of ghosting someone, take these tips to heart or don't. It's up to you.
Right. I know, yeah.
Send that message or don't. It's up to you.
I know.
But let us know your stories. We would love to hear from you guys. We've shared some of ours and we would love to know, have you been ghosted? Did it suck? Did you ghost someone? Was it funny? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, know. Exactly.
Yeah. We'll be the judge of that.
I know. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Please email us. We will be getting a separate email account so that you can, send your stories in. But for now, we'll include our email in the show notes. So that, if you have a burning story that you would just love to bring to light, let us, let it come off of our lips. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. We've shared some stuff. We'd love to hear from you guys. So we will definitely include our email so you can submit stories if you like. And on that note, thank you guys so much. We will see you next week. Check us out on YouTube for the visual conversation. A huge thank you again to our awesome interpreters joining us this week. You guys are amazing as always. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you guys get your podcasts. And tell your friends, tell your family, tell anyone. We are here and we are having fun. So have them come join the conversation.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram. Please, get involved in some of our story polls. And please just join the conversation because it's fun.
Yeah. Yes, on Instagram and Twitter, you guys can find us at Wrong the Podcast. We have lots of fun stuff going on over there. We'd love to hear from you. So shoot us a DM, slide into our DMs.
Yes.
And that is it for this week. So we will see you guys next week for a brand new episode.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks so much.
Bye.